Welcome back. It's still the Saturday morning show, 92.3 Nigeria Info. I trust you're having a wonderful time. Well, it's about to get better because we are about to start Standouts with Mr. Patrick. Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Hi, Sammy.
Morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
It's nice to have you here with us.
Yeah.
How has your week been?
It's been awesome.
Nice to know.
Mm.
How are you hoping that next week gets?
Oh, undone.
Undone. Okay. Well, let's get into next week and see what happens. Okay. So the topic for today, I already have questions from the title itself. The charmer.
The charmer.
Who exactly? Why the charmer?
Have you ever seen people who lived their life bitter, in bitterness?
Yeah, I think I've been there at some point. We've always, bitterness is a natural human concept.
How do you like oppressors? How do you like cheaters?
I don't like them.
I hope you're not one.
I hope so too. But look, being bitter doesn't translate to you being an oppressor, does it?
No, I'm just telling you
okay.
some attributes.
Okay. No, definitely not. I'm not one.
You're not one.
Yeah.
No wonder the girl married you.
Nice. Okay.
So, charmer, the writer of Hebrews said, guard against turning back from the grace of God. Grace. Let no one become a tree like a bitter plant that grows up and causes many trouble with its poisons. Another version says, and make sure no one lives with root of bitterness, sprouting within them, which will cause trouble and poison the heart of many. A charmer is one who refuses to be stopped or resigned to life. It is one who refuses to accept status quo, rather adapt to what is available, combining it, reorganizing it, restarting it afresh, so that it better matches his or her interests and ideals. So it means it doesn't have to have everything, but utilizing what it has and make it different.
Okay.
Charmers are those who strip the world of its stubborn forgeness and adapt to it, to their need. You know, the world gives you a certain ideology, frame of mind. You have to be a certain way. But hey, you refuse to allow that forgeness to forge you. You know, that's why we keep saying, is life engaging you? Or are you engaging life?
Yeah.
We engage life in a charmer because they're just a beauty about yourself. Charmer are those who will redefine the oddity as an opportunity to creating usefulness. Charmers are those who rearrange ordinary thing into extraordinary thing. Charmers are those who are committed to doing better with whatever they have presently. Charmers are those who consistently and persistently look out for ways, even in smaller ways, of improving life. Charmers are those who overlook offense and still offer help. Charmers are people with beautiful motives and intentions. Let's look at the underlay. Charmers under layers. Some people life is based on how things occur to them. So I developed what I call the JAA. Judgment, attitude, and action. How things occur to you will define how you relate to things. Your performance is based on how things occur to you and how you judge it. You know, I did a research about judgment. You see, every age have a way they perceive things, the same thing.
Every age?
Every age.
Okay.
If you bring teenagers in one circumstance, there's a way that have not had too much experience.
Yeah.
Now, there's a way they are going to connect to an event.
Surely.
If you bring, an
older person.
Yes. Who has experience or biases, his or her contact or engagement with a certain event will be different as well too. You bring elderly people.
Yeah.
You bring married people and unmarried people.
Yeah.
You bring people who are working, who have financial, means, and people who don't have financial means.
Different responses.
Different responses.
Yeah.
So, and this is the core of life. And most times we are in a generalized mood where we are judging things from our own point. You know how a relationship will come in and say, okay, my gift, make a way.
Mm.
And the person say, I don't need your gift. Now, they don't need your gift because when they were growing up, they had an experience that they can only be validated with a gift.
Mm.
So each time somebody brings gifts, they connect to that experience and judge you from that. Meanwhile, that motive is not yours. So judgment, then attitude, how you feel, or your opinion, how you think, your mental condition. And now because of need, because of exposure, because of the trouble in the nation, we are having a bit of mental awareness. So your attitude, the frame of mind, your ideas, that outlook, and then the attachment. That attachment is a problem with life.
It is.
It is. Because, you had an experience, and that experience gave you some little feelings. You're attached to it. So every time you want to take a decision, you judge it from that previous experience.
Yeah.
And people who judge are not open, that they don't have curious mind.
I relate with this particular point because I've been attached to things I shouldn't have been.
And that attachment just becloud your judgment of that.
Truly.
That which it brings you to action. Action is that. Now, action is not only an actionable thing. They are also in speech. It alters how you speak. Then, let's look at the enemies of karmas. The act of storytelling that invoke bitterness, rage, obsession, ranting, grudges, sorrowfulness, upset, hate, agony, harshness, rancor, awfulness, misery, panic, despair, and nervousness, and being frightened. Now, you find out that how you tell your story affects your life.
How you tell the story.
How you tell the story.
How so?
Think about somebody who is full of zest with life, full of life, and communicating a need. Is different from somebody who is hateful.
Okay.
Or who is angry.
Communicating same need.
Communicating same need. You see, the aggressive modulation affect that.
Okay.
So, your storytelling is very key. How you connect to an event and how you tell the story will make you either a charmer or not a charmer.
I don't want to get to the end of this conversation before I ask this question. Now, you said earlier that we respond based on our level and experiences.
Yes.
Of course, giving the example of how teenagers will respond to something as against people who are older. There are situations where we are bound by our position and circumstance. For example, if something happens, I would very likely respond as a man, by factor of being a man, and what a man would do in that position. It will be difficult or almost impossible to relate or respond as a woman, because my experience has always been as a man. So how exactly am I supposed to connect with it differently?
This is where, if we go over closely, we're going to be talking about in that direction.
Okay.
But let me tell you something, Sammy. Most people are single thinkers and not double thinkers.
I use that example to show that it's impossible to think alternatively.
But you see, it is also very possible that you're going to deal with a woman, or you're dealing with women. There's a connection with them. So you don't have to single think. And this is the problem. When men are conditioned to think as a man and not to think also as a woman. Meanwhile,
Sorry.
Go on.
But again, I can see how that would affect how I relate with the woman in my experiences with her. So it's important to open up.
Let us assume that your father told you each time you come to the house you need to bone to show you're a man.
Okay.
Okay? Now, this woman don't understand that manhoodness. Because when the father comes in, he's very cheerful and embracing. So all her life, she had always had a father who embraces. Her thinking cannot be different.
Yeah.
Now, that's why you're going to have it, because you're showing a man is insignificant.
In relating with her, it's
Yes.
important to be open. What about my personal experiences? Should I see it from a different perspective than what it is?
That's why I'm going to talk about empathy. Empathy means that you're not thinking about yourself. If you go on, you will see, it will explain all that.
I'm not thinking about myself even for my personal experience.
What are you thinking about?
No, again, it's my personal experience.
So that your personal experience is also dependent on the other person.
Okay, let's continue.
So the other thing is there isn't enough time. People think that there's enough time. There's no time. And this is one thing. So they don't focus on the right thing now. They focus on, oh, I will do it. You know, that procrastinating thing and all that.
Yeah.
That's an enemy. You don't focus on what is important now at the moment. You know, your disposition that there's unlimited time. But focusing on the wrong thing, focusing on fear, or looking bit of, like a fool. You know, people say, I don't want to be looked like a fool. And it affects their originality. Or the fear of pain of being rejected.
Yeah.
Or, that awkwardness that let me fit in. I don't fit into this. Or the pain of unaccomplishment. Then we have what they call the undistinguished selfishness. Selfishness is good. You know that people who struggle in life, right? And they're struggling. Everybody in the family is depending on them.
True.
And they can't move. They can't stand up to say, give me 2 years, I'll come back to everybody.
Yeah.
And they will develop themselves. Save up money, put up a proper structure, and everybody will enjoy. When you say this kind of thing, people say you are wicked.
Yeah, most that will be the reaction.
That will be their reaction. But do you know that you can recover all that 2 years, but just by allowing something to set in? And this is what is happening to Africa. When one soul comes out, everybody crowds to that place, and we all remain in the same status.
But it's not very easy to make that decision.
Yeah, that is why it's something we are bringing this alternative thinking. Yeah, so you stay quiet. The other people just stay quiet about their requirement, and they grow increasingly rugged, angry. It's paining them, but they can't speak out. They can't communicate it.
Okay.
You know how the bee is killing the husband,
Yeah.
right? And he's just enduring it because he wants to be a good man.
Yes, sir.
And that good man, inside you are not a good man. Because you are saying, okay, you know how a boss is just coming up and bearing under this COVID thing. It's okay, how am I going to pay the salaries? But they can't speak up, unable to be an ambassador of their own intention. It's a big problem. Then the other one, Sammy, is the vague of self-understanding. A lot of us have not identified ourselves. We don't even understand our origins, our makeup. And so we pretend, and that brings us to an authentic self. And once you are authentic pretending, you lose the zest of life. You're not charming. I wish time would tell me to deal with all the other ones.
Yes. No, something has to happen. Something has to happen, because this is a conversation in itself that this time would not be enough for. And at this point, I don't even want to ask questions. I want to engage. I just want to let there be a back and forth. But let me leave you with this question. Now, the features you've given to the charmer, these are features that even I would want. Refuses to be stuck at a level. A charmer engages life, is committed to doing better with what he has, consistently seeking for ways to improve life. Beautiful motives and intentions, of course. If I'm half of this, then I'm good. But why the title charmer? When I think charmer, I'm not thinking about these features. Why that particular title?
We're looking to be accepted in wrong ways. My generation is the effect generation where we look at the external, the position, the attainment, the status.
Superficial.
the superficial thing.
Yeah.
Right? But meanwhile, those things are fading. But meanwhile, imagine when I see you, the smile, the joy, you offer hope.
Yeah.
You are more likely to be drawn by people than when you absorb life.
Indeed.
I mean, by the time you go in, you hear something like tenderness, about gentleness and kindness, the feeling of concern and warmth for others and the welfare of others. You see, to be a charmer, you don't need to think for yourself, you need to think about others. You know how you are in a particular city or street, you have a mopo, you build high pepper, and you are the only one who there's a light, and you don't care with people around. Think about another person who he doesn't even have all that, but he comes in, he's so friendly with everybody, he concerns everybody, he cooks, he gives, he shares. Who's a charmer?
Well, naturally, the second guy.
The second guy.
Who has an impact on other people.
I was going to give us about several things like a lover. By the time next week we continue, you realize that by the time we finish the series, what you think matters is insignificant.
All right. Naturally, there's a part 2 loading.
There's a part 2 loading.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you, Mr. Patrick. What's happening with Standout?
Standout next week, Saturday, Undone.
Oh, that's why you said Undone when I asked how next week is going.
It's going to be Undone.
Okay.
I bring my experience. They look not ordinary, but it's something I experienced.
Yeah.
I was called up last night to give what they call perceived bad news. And when I talked to the gentleman, I could see from the high horse, I brought him to the energy just by appreciation. And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm an undone man."
Interesting. So next Saturday?
Next Saturday.
Oh, you're going to be here in the morning, so
I'll be here in the morning.
You tell us how we'll connect with it. But those who'd like to connect with Standout.
So I stand out in all the social media as well. And we have a website that you can get a lot of resources as well.
Indeed. Resources to listen to download.
Yeah, to download. To feed your mind with as well. Yeah.
Interesting. That's soistandout.com. www.
soistandout.com.
All right. And for those who want to connect with you personally?
0033411451. 0033411451.
Thank you,
we'll
Mr.
continue
Patrick.
with this conversation.
Chama, yes, we do need to continue. There are so many questions unasked.
Yeah.
And I'm very uncomfortable when I have a question that I've not used. It's almost like I want to bust. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming up. So that is going to happen next week. Thank you, Sebastian, for making the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day. All right, coming